Mic check. Music check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, he has. Hello. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back, one and all. My name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Today's stream is called The Damn Challenge. Today we highlight entries from the Damn Challenge and showcase the winning entry, which you see here. It was quite an interesting Damn Challenge, to say the least, even though we didn't have that many entries, which a little bummed about, but I understand life gets in the way. Sorry, I'm trying to pull this here. Anyway, we have 4 total. So I have decided that due to the lack of maps, I think what I'll do is I'll try and in the first hour cover all 4 maps, and then I will flip over to the Map Maker Monday map and work on it for a bit, to do a bit of work on it. My lighting is good? What do you mean? Like on me? On my face? Oh, that's good. Could be because I got some sun. I've been getting out a little bit in the yard and, you know, doing things. Stuffing things. How was everyone's week? And I gotta say, the winning map here, the Faemont Inn by Lord Rev, congratulations. Really impressed by this map. I found it very, very charming. And also just wonderful design. And I loved the verticality of it. I think you did a really good job. Great representation of multi-level, and just a wonderful design. I only wish there was more, to be honest. Like, I wish there was more environment around the hotel. I'm trying to get the other streams up. I just seen TikTok go live, and I also, I just refreshed them both, so they both went up. We've got Steam, we've got TikTok, we've got Twitch, we've got, do we have YouTube? Is it up? Yes, YouTube is live. We've got live everywhere, it looks like, because it said it went to Facebook and Twitter as well, so I'll just trust it. Well, appreciate it. I honestly made some adjustments to my camera's settings. That and the lighting in the room is really well balanced, and I made sure the green screen was, properly, well, for the most part. I don't know. I could even make it a bit better. I think once you're live and you're like looking at the map, the lighting is significantly different, because the screens are all lit up doing what they're supposed to be doing. No worries, my friend. Honestly, I love the map. I'm just like, if I had to make a complaint, that would be my only one. So that's really minuscule if you think about it. Like oop, that's bad. I think you did a great job. I love it. Big money, big prizes. I love it. Yep, Rev won. Rev is our winner. You started 5 maps, Jim, but didn't finish and submit one. That's okay. Honestly, I could see how this one could be tricky. Rev did a great job, though. I will say pretty much every entry was like, they were all really good. So it's kind of like, again, it was hard for me to just choose. But that being said, what I really love about your map is how you have like pretty much the whole compound sort of mapped out with like areas to explore and check out. Even like this area with the statue, you can enter the gate and kind of see what's going on there. Little side yard here. So, like, everything is just somewhere you can check out. You know what I mean? Especially on foot, which I appreciated. The entryway of this map, absolutely adorable. Nice little kind of mud room, hearth, coat room, you know, coat check, whatever. Move into check-in. Warm, inviting, big. Vaulted ceilings with the wood, you know, the wood ceiling. It just looks really clean. The counter here set up with the register, which is always fun. You haven't spent a lot of time in hotels? You know, I don't travel often. Over the years of my life, I've probably been to a hotel maybe once every other year or so, right? So it's not like something I do often myself either. Let's just say I'm not a traveled man. I lived in one state the majority of my life and then another for the rest. Oh, I didn't, you know, it's funny you say that because there's also, okay, so the sarcasm, if you didn't put the tag, it's kind of hard to read through it, but there is also kind of a joke where someone says, and I don't live in a hotel, and I drive every type of classic car. Ooh, I love the safe room. For some reason, I didn't go in here. I like that it's enchanted. That adds an extra layer of security. Keep all your doomsday devices hidden and safe. I think it does. Weird that the ceiling isn't that. Poseidon, isn't it a nice one? How you doing today? Welcome back. Uh-oh. I accidentally pushed the wrong button on my KVM switch. But like from the outside, the build is just rather wonderful. It's enchanting. You got lovely symmetry, nice exterior spaces to check out. A garden over here, some balconies. Over here, you have a nice little, you know, exterior area with some secrets. Nice. You know, Poseidon, if I may offer just a little bit of advice when it comes to swamp maps, because I've made a few myself. Because we don't necessarily we have like a forest biome and we have a jungle biome. I found that the paints in the jungle biome lean more towards what swamps will offer, but then I kind of cut back on, you know, a lot of the jungle plants. Some of the jungle foliage is good, but I mix in lots of vines and, like, you know, rotting trees, moss. And then, of course, lighting is really important, in my opinion. If you know, change the light to like a green or that kind of like night with like a green tint, it can make it feel more like a swamp as well. We can talk about that more in a bit, though, if you're interested. Hey, Bane, how you doing? Welcome back. I would love to see what you come up with, though, Poseidon. Can't wait. I think the courtyard is one of my favorite parts of the map. Then these little balconies kind of mixed in. Nice. Like a little balcony almost every level. Let's get back inside. How you doing, Geronimo? Welcome back, my friend. How's life been treating you? We do one thing. I have the chat visible on several screens. That way I don't accidentally miss anything y'all are saying. It would be awful, wouldn't it? Alrighty. I love the little bar. Nice little space to hang out, like a lodge style bar, you know? I'm glad to hear it, man. I'm glad to hear it. It's always good to get some family time. Um, you know, this morning I kind of, well, let's see. My day started off pretty much off the bat, you know what I mean? Just started getting into stuff and preparing my morning. I was reading over, correspondence and looking over comments from yesterday and, responses on various platforms just to see if there was anything I needed to jump into and answer. And then I kind of started mentally and physically preparing for the stream by, doing my morning workout, stretches, ate some food, and then I started diving into, well, I downloaded the maps and everything last night, and I made a judgment call last night, but I, went through everything again today, made sure it was all working, just because sometimes Steam Workshop stuff gets weird or doesn't work right, and I want to make sure every map loads correctly and functionally, so I just kind of give them a once over. Then I set up my stream stuff and got into it. Didn't get much family time this morning, but this afternoon I will get a little bit more. Though I do plan to spend some time in my garage today, just kind of cleaning up a bit more. Cleaning up and organizing, and because I've made space on a bunch of shelves out there and moved a bunch of things around, condensed things, and just kind of want to finish my work out there. How's everyone's Saturday going so far? What y'all been up to? Anything interesting before the stream today, or do you have anything planned for later? Would love to hear about everyone's encounters for the day. Love these little lounges, kind of like a cigar lounge or whatever. Wow. Oh my goodness. Very cool. Dinner for friend's birthday. Well, that's cool. Got gaming with the wife after. What you guys gonna play? Bane, did you just drop in, wave, and then disappear? Yes, both of my workbenches are set up, and then I built like a rack that's a kind of like a frame that holds storage totes, and they slide into it, and then the rack has wheels on it so you can roll it around. But I built two identical workbenches. One I mounted a chop saw, like a miter chop saw on, and then the other one I mounted a vise on. And basically between the two of them, I have more than enough workspace to do almost anything I need to as of late, which has been great because I had, goodness, like so many of these projects that I put off for a while. Made those. I made a cool little kind of tilted mount, like an ergonomic mount for my son's Xbox adaptive controller, which is designed for those with limited mobility, but it's like heavy and has tons of cords and parts, and so I kind of made a custom like board mount that'll hold it all and runs all the wires underneath, so it's like clean and easy for him to move around and access and use. It was pretty cool to set up for him. I was really happy to do that. What else have I done? Oh yeah, like I said, that storage rack. And then just like tons of projects around the house that I've been putting off, little things that need doing, Honestly, I kind of felt like it was water recycling or like magic siphoning, like people are here being like all of the good energy kind of seeps into the trees, right? Their life force and their like positivity or even their negativity, and then is harvested. Either or, you could do a lot of things with that. But yeah, the rack is like just a bunch of 2x4s and 4x4s, and then it's like, you know, those black totes with like yellow lids. It just stores 8 of them in it, and then on top I put a little area like a piece of plywood on it as well, and then I store some tools up there, like my yard tools, like my leaf blower and my hedge trimmer. You know, I grew up in a carpenter shop. My father was a carpenter, cabinet maker, finished carpenter, and he had a big shop with tons of tools that, you know, I got to learn a bit, you know, being around him and him taking me to job sites and stuff. But unfortunately, after he passed, I didn't really get any of his tools. And it's for a lot of reasons. It's weird, just family drama stuff. And then also he was a bit of a vagrant and he got arrested, and I think he lost a lot of his stuff, you know, through that, you know, because it's hard to hold on to those things when you're not paying for everything, right? So anyway, long and the short of it, my grandfather gave me a bunch of tools this year because he's like getting up there in age, he's retiring and doesn't really have space and or the energy to use tools like this anymore. And honestly, I didn't have space either, but I was able to sell like a boat that had been sitting in my garage for like 20 years, just taking up space that I just hadn't used in pretty much that length of time, and got rid of it and was able to just kind of flip the space. It's great. We have tons of storage now, tons of workspace, been able to do stuff out there like every day. And it's crazy because I've been still going through all the tools. There's like so many tools to go through. So I spend a tremendous amount of time like going through them one at a time, seeing what they do. Oh, Artful Darkness, thank you for the love. Much appreciated. You know, yesterday I pulled out this little, like a handheld circular saw. I guess all circular saws for the most part are like, you know, handheld, but it's very small. It's like compact. And it's designed to be just more lightweight and easy to use for smaller cuts, you know? And I tested it out yesterday, works really good. And then I even found a manual for it online. Every time I tell my grandfather that I found the manual for it, he's like, where'd you get the manual? I'm like, oh, on the internet. I just found a digital file for it and I saved it on my computer. And he's like, oh. And he's like, oh, that's really cool. Anyway, there's some woodworking I still need to do around the house and projects I haven't even thought up yet. Some things aren't even woodworking that I want to do out in the shop. Like I want to make vertical garden stands, like towers, for the upcoming season. I might even start the gardens in the garage because it's like nice and warm out there. And if we have some light, they could, you know, get started and then we can bring them out in the early season. Yeah, well, I've been organizing my toolboxes and pulling stuff out of all the bags of tools he gave me. And like he gave me a rolling toolbox, which I already have 2. I have one that's like a pack out kind of rolling kit that's like designed to go to construction sites, or if you're doing jobs on the go, if like I go to a friend's house, or, you know, like I was planning to start building on a homestead in my spare time, but it didn't really work out. And the other thing, I also have like a traditional like rolling toolbox that you would have for your garage, but I gave that one to my son. He gave me one of those as well. I gave that one to my wife for her craft room. It's like I got too many toolboxes. But anyway, he gave me several tool bags full of tools and a bunch of like regular like big tools like tile saw, chop saw, 2 circular saws, a few sanders, a grinder, a router. It's like a Craftsman router that has to be like 40, 50 years old. The thing is massive and it's like a tank. Honestly, I'm really happy to have all this stuff. It's been very fun going through it, organizing it, kind of finding space for it. I need some pegboards and like more hooks. I bought like hooks for all of my yard tools, my landscaping tools, like my shovels, rakes were just shoved in a corner of my garage. Like that's where they would fit, right? And then I now have a wall where I could hang them. I was like, man, I feel like an adult. I got all those hooks to hang them up. Feel so grown up. Yeah, in my case, Random Ladybird, I know how to use routers that are woodworking routers and also, you know, digital, you know, networking routers. Honestly, I gotta say this again. Congratulations, Lord Rev. This map is stunning. I've just been walking around kind of touring it as we've been talking and hanging out, and I love it. It's a great, inviting design. I think staying here would be pretty cool. It also kind of gives me a bit of a like vibes like that hotel from The Shining, though, just a little bit. Oh, that's really cool, Random Ladybird. It's been very fun to kind of just test myself and try to do all this woodworking that I've really never done before on my own. Right? It could be the Clue House, or it feels like the inn from, or like the country club and inn from The Shining. Am I crazy, or does it kind of give off that vibe? Ski resort or whatever. That's what your wife said? Funny. Red rum. Anyway, just kind of has that like massive, like kind of old-timey resort that most of them like either like are now like got burnt in a fire or like fell apart over time because they were like very regional destinations that were appealing at the time, but after air travel got more like cheap and common and destinations all over the world opened up, I think, you know, these kind of resort hotels out in the middle of, you know, nowhere, Appalachia or like different places all over the US started kind of dying. There's still a few that do rather well, don't get me wrong. Mansion from Ghosts? Is that a TV show, a movie? I'm unfamiliar. Honestly, I'm a bit jealous of that Random Ladybird, like a bit, just a bit. I was gonna say, this window won't open. There we go. Can I get out? No, I can look out. So Rev, how long did it take you to make this map? Well, dang, my friend, that's impressive. A lot of work went into this, and a lot particularly went into, like, I feel like the symmetry and these balconies and like these kind of cool fun spaces. The TV show? Dang. I've not heard of it. Honestly, absolutely loved the map. I also noticed a visual bug that you were able to, you know, point out to me because this design here was able to see it. This staircase here, this wrought iron one, it clips through the walls on both edges. That's no bueno. No bueno. Does anyone have any questions for Rev about his map before we move on to the next map? I'd like to open up to the floor so anyone can ask questions. Also, remember during these streams, they're hosted AMA format, so if you have any questions about Dungeon Alchemist, maybe you're struggling with building a certain type of map, or you're wondering if it can build something specific, or maybe you have a question about exports, anything really Dungeon Alchemist related, feel free to chime in to chat on any chat, and I will do my best to answer your question. Yeah, I do think it looks rather good. It's a beautiful map. You did a great job. Zoom out here so we can see the overall design. And check West Hooks, interesting. Honestly, I mean, this could be any number of things. You could turn this into a magnificent mansion. It would fit in a hook, like a really quick, easy, pocket dimension magnificent mansion. You could also set it up as a murder mystery, yep, or a getaway for players after they've done like some hard work or a crazy quest line where they can get some silly RP or maybe meet other people there or intriguing, other, customers or royals or people who might be there that would open them up to new regions or other kingdoms or other, quest lines, etc. Any number of things could be here. A murder mystery would be interesting though, for sure. There was no description, I noticed. Description was absent, so I was left to kind of come up with my own ideas of it. I think it's absolutely breathtaking, though. It's a lovely map. Oh, the link you shared got chopped. Geronimo, can you just DM it to me, man? I'll check it out later. Our bot gets rid of it unless you're a mod or myself or one of like the devs. Thank you, good sir. Looking over at the watching window, I see all these usernames that I just want to say I appreciate you for being here. Whether you're actively chatting today or lurking, it means the world to me. Glad to have you here. Also, I just want to make sure that YouTube is working. Can you say something over on YouTube really quick, Atlam? Yeah, let's go through the layers. That's a great suggestion. Layers. Yep, I see the message. I just wanted to make sure it was working. Thank you, Atlam, for confirming. So here is if we peel off the 5th floor, which has a bunch of rooms and kind of general areas. Some studies, some smoking rooms, balconies, whatnot. Some fancier rooms and, more generic, which I'd imagine they're the attendants or, you know what I mean? Yeah, the center ones were the penthouse suites, but then adjacent you have these kind of less fancy ones who I could see as like attendants, you know what I mean, or people who work there. But what are these? I want to clarify with you, my friend. Having a bedpan attendants made me kind of think that. Lovely little private dining hall. Exterior rear balcony there, lovely. Oh my goodness. Let's go down a level here. You can see these are kind of a more mid-grade penthouses. Still nice beds, but usually are shared. Like here is a couple of shared rooms. So they could be like for a family or, you know what I mean? A group booking together. Private rooms though. Some smaller ones, some larger ones, all have access to balconies. You're asking too many questions. Too many questions, Mondo. Just kidding. Prestidigitation. Chamber pots. Yeah, there was a chamber pot in one of the attendance rooms. Yeah, on the base floor, there is a bathroom right here with 2 restrooms. For all of these rooms, though. That's some Victorian level torture right there. I think we could probably cut out a few of these bedrooms and make a few, like, other restrooms. This is why none of us have degrees in architecture. Honestly, there probably are some architects in our community. I wouldn't doubt it. That's funny though. How you doing, Blue Mage? Welcome back. Oh, slept funny on my shoulder. You've heard Hotel California in your head? Geronimo, I'll check that out later for sure. I just gotta say, I mean, I guess, but in the context of the song, I'm not gonna talk about it. Not gonna talk about it. Song's really good, but it's got another meaning. Well, it's got a particular meaning. Anyway, congratulations again, Rev. I will reach out to you before Monday afternoon to send you your prize for winning the damn challenge, which is a $10 Hero Forge gift card. In addition to having your map, being the first featured, getting about 30 minutes of FaceTime in front of everyone and discussing your map, showcasing it, having everyone check it out. Your map will also be featured in the Cartomancer Chronicles next Monday. So, well, you definitely got the plenty of room part. There's like hundreds of rooms in this hotel. So I definitely had an Eagles kick in my youth. I was one of those kids that was like, I was born in the wrong decade. I always listened to music like that was way older than me when I was growing up. So I'd listen to, you know, all sorts of like 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s rock, even though I was like born in the late 80s. And then, you know, as I got into my like kind of late teens, I finally started enjoying music for my age more. Love the subterranean little spa here with the, don't worry, we won't be siphoning your energy or anything like that. Yellow Shark, it's Lord Rev in chat made this map. We're actually showcasing entries from our bi-weekly map making contest called the Dam Challenge. The current theme was hospitality, and this was the winning map. Quite fun, quite extensive. It's got a lot going on. We actually have a few other entries to showcase, so we're going to be going to check those out next. Congrats again, Rev. It's a really beautiful map. And it is available on the Steam Workshop for anyone who's curious. If you own a copy of Dungeon Alchemist, you just go to the Steam Workshop tab, hit Browse Maps, and then you can search Faemont Inn. I'll get a link and drop it in chat as well. That's the top search result right there. Stand by. You know what? I do have it already up on another of tabs. I should have just grabbed it there. Okay, I'm going to drop that link over in our Twitch chat. Atlam, if you could share that on any other platforms if anyone wants it. Thank you again, Rev. It's a wonderful map. I appreciate you sharing it. Oh, yeah, you know what? Go ahead and do yourself a little shout out real quick, my friend. Where are you going to be posting this map as well? Uh-oh, I might sneeze. Stand by while he's doing that. Well, almost sneezed, but I didn't. Hey, I didn't notice we had a follow earlier, and I just want to say thank you. Catacombs RPG, thank you so much for the follow over on Twitch. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and I just want to say welcome to the Dam fam. Already at 16 downloads, right? Pretty good so far, right? Okay, let's move on to the next map. This map is so interesting. It's called Capsule Comfort. I'm going to say this map is small. It's only 5 by 23 tiles. The map maker originally was going to make it 1 by 1, but opted for a kind of neat optical illusion instead. Aw, random ladybird, I think you should have still entered. It would have been nice to just still see some of these entries everyone's talking about. I understand, though, sometimes the 2 weeks, it's hard to get it all done and get it to your satisfaction. You know what I mean? Let's open this next map. Nice. Let me know when you share it on social media, too, so I can signal boost, my friend. And thank you again for sharing that map with the community by entering the Dam Challenge. Hey, JFP, how you doing? Welcome back, my friend. What's new with you? Don't they say in Brazil, they say ja ja, ja 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 ja. My friends from Halo and Battlefield that I would talk to would say that every time we'd say hello. Look at that view. Well, I would love to see it when it's finished. If you ever, get it done. But there's like a hot tub here to chill out in, to vibe, and then just enjoy the moonlight. It's honestly just a simple map, but Very, very like relaxing and fun. Okay, let's take a look outside so you can actually like. If you look here, it's pretty much centered on this one area where they buried all of it within these like ice cubes or the blocks of ice. So they have like this diorama, which is, I think, the most clever part about it. Unfortunately, JFP, I don't speak, much in the way of of that stuff. So unfortunately, I'm sorry. I don't speak much Spanish. I don't speak much Portuguese. I know a very little, I'm afraid. I probably should start learning more languages, though. In fact, I kind of want to start. Maybe it would be nice to kind of learn a new language like every other year or so. I think, excuse me. Sorry about that. I think this map is really clever. I think it also just shows that you don't need like a huge map to have like a lot of heart or like a lot of options. We're off to see the wizard, the apocalypse wizard of Oz. We're not really sure if he's a wizard, but then he makes us think he was. Because here in the wasteland, we don't know. We haven't been to school since we were young. Yo ho, yo ho, yo ho, yo ho, yo ho. I think they left an accidental roof. It's not there when you're like this, but when you go up a level, we can remove it. I think there was a spare roof. That's the whole point of this stream, is to relax, right? Hospitable maps like these. Ooh, that's kind of neat how they put the, I didn't notice that before. That's the cool like pieces for the war table, and then they mixed it with the tile to kind of make it look like those cool what are they called? The tables and stuff where they use resin. Looks very cool. Oh my gosh. Never noticed that before. I didn't even look down at it. What do y'all think of this map overall? Yeah, it does have some landing page vibes, huh? Just goes to show that a map doesn't have to be huge to really, be a cool contender in the damn challenge. Speaking of the damn challenge, we should start discussing plans for the next theme. Yeah, it could be like a pocket dimension, or even like a wizard or a sorcerer or warlock's own pocket dimension. Like this could be a bottled respite for a warlock, right? Fairy tale could be great. let's talk about themes. Inhospitable. Hostility. War. Interesting. Hey, Swedish Cook, how you doing? Welcome back, my friend. Fairy tale is an interesting one for sure. It leaves it open. Layers, Lizzie, I like that. That one's a good one. How are you doing today, by the way, Lizzie? Next theme shall not be named. That's kind of confusing, though, because people will be like, wait, was the theme not given? Or I'm just kidding. Teasing. Horror? We've done that a couple of times. Similar to horror, hellscape, things like that. Unthinkable, unchanging. What do y'all think? TikTok, Steam? We're trying to come up with YouTube. I want to hear feedback from every platform on our next possible theme for the Damn Challenge. Every 2 weeks, we come up with a Damn Challenge theme, and then that gives you 2 weeks to work on that theme. We picked the theme as a group, obviously, and then we post it publicly so everyone can kind of see what it is. And then you make a map of any shape or size using that theme as inspiration. You can submit that map in our Discord in the Damn Challenge channel. There's some rules pinned at the top that you must adhere to. 4 simple rules to qualify when you submit your map. Aside from this, your map must be submitted on time and kind of be in the spirit of the theme. But I mean, it's a pretty simple, fun, easygoing contest that's really just geared around challenging yourself, pushing yourself to new kind of heights as a map maker, trying new things, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. False Hydra is a good one. Depth or Delve are interesting. I think we've done Delve in the past, though. I think Lairs, like Lairs, lair, like the dragon's lair. Not an ogre's lair, which is confusing because ogres have layers. Yep. I was way ahead of you, dude. I said it way before you even typed it. Ruins. I feel like we did, but it was a long time ago. It's been a long time. So, you know, honestly, all of these suggestions are great, but the thing is we need to kind of put one like kind of ahead of the others. Everyone needs to kind of agree on one for our next theme. Lost and Found. Interesting, Robert. That's kind of interesting. Jails. Okay, Lizzie, I like it. I like it. Vault. Okay. We're going to move on to the next map, which was made by Geronimo. I feel like we have. It's been a while, though. Consider. How does anyone feel about estate? Think. Blue Mage, I think that's a cool one. Estate. E-S-T-A-T-E. Estate. Fairy tale is a good suggestion. Sorry for the confusion. Estate. 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 I mean, it always is a time challenge, technically, Geronimo. I put the size theme out this last time for the rules, and a lot of people weren't really vibing with it. Here's the thing, too. We have a lot of new contributors as of late. The last few damn challenges have had some new faces, and I'd like to kind of try and keep it simple for them. But I do think we're probably going to split or have two different challenges going forward. There'll be a damn challenge for kind of like an advanced category, and then one that's more basic, like a simple build category and an advanced build category. I think it'll be kind of like, 2 hours or less, stock objects only, 20 by 20 or smaller. So it's like it really opens the playing field to a lot of different people who may not have time in 2 weeks to build a 20-hour map, or who feel intimidated looking at all of the insanely beautiful maps being put up by our challengers who have competed dozens of times. And I don't want to say that to discourage people who do enter all the time or repetitively or over and over to stop. That's not what I'm putting down here. In fact, I would say I would encourage those who feel intimidated to enter more and more, because you only increase your chances of winning by entering. By not entering, you're definitely making it a 0-win scenario. But the more you enter, the more skills and practice you get, the more confidence you get. And honestly, there are maps that tend to be the kind of underdog map that wins quite frequently. A lot of times people go in thinking one map is going to be the winner, and so they get discouraged and don't submit. So I understand where that's coming from. And I want this competition to be friendly and fun and inviting for all. Part of me thinks splitting it up is into two contests, where one's more limited and restricted in scope and the other is more advanced. I do feel like some people get some imposter syndrome or start worrying that they have to compete against people who've been making maps for years now, and it gets discouraging, I'd imagine. And I don't want it to be that way. I want it to be inviting and fun for everyone. So so one unwritten rule I have, Robert, for instance, is I only let a person win, like they can't win 2 in a row. So if someone wins, they cannot win the next damn challenge, even if they enter. They can still enter, but they can't win 2 in a row. So that's kind of one rule that prevents people from winning over and over and over again. That's a private judging rule more than anything than it is a public rule. But I do like that suggestion, but also we only had 4 entries this time. So it makes me wonder if I do something like that, wouldn't we may only get 1 or 2 entries sometimes. But at the same time, it might encourage people to enter more if they feel like they're not competing against people who put in all the time. So I don't know. We'll work out the minutia and try and figure it out. I think the damn challenge is going to be not necessarily split up, but growing. It's going to be 2 different challenges now. So when I say estate, okay, I use it as a broad term because I like to pick themes that are kind of open-ended for you to take however you want. Estate is broad. You could do a huge mansion, or, it could be an island covered with stuff. It could be whatever you think it is. That's kind of the point of these themes. We pick them to be more open-ended, to give you the opportunity to make a map whatever you want within those boundaries. You know what I mean? A will reading? It could very easily be a will reading. Rev, I appreciate that statement. For me, the dam challenge is what really got me leveling up my map making and comfortable enough to put them out there in the wider world. It's those little baby steps. Just got to start somewhere. I also appreciate what Hieronymo said about the dam challenge in our Discord the other day. I didn't get to respond because I try not to talk in the dam challenge channel to remain impartial until after the challenge, you know? I don't upvote on any of the challenges in there. I don't comment on them until after. So, that being said, Hieronymo stated, like Eliana and Inanne say, I find comparison is the killer of joy, but I know this notion is all too good when comparing myself to my personal idols. So in my opinion, the challenge is about the community. We learn from each other, at least I do, so that we can grow and have fun together, laughing at silly things and admiring amazing concepts and ideas. I assure you, and this is a part I really appreciated, that Max sees and appreciates a lot more than skill. He has a special gift for perceiving true qualities and of each and every creation. A win for me is seeing my maps acknowledged and maybe having them a few minutes on screen while some awesome people of this community watch. So honestly, it's really just a matter of, and I get it. It's frightening. It's anxiety riddling to put yourself out there, to try something new, to enter a contest of any kind. It's always scary, right? But I want to assure everyone that the damn challenge is really just to challenge yourself to be a better cartographer, to grow as a map maker and a DM, and to help you build confidence. And it really has helped so many in our community learn and grow as map makers. Yeah, we talked about that a few streams back, Robert. You know, it's funny. I have been talking to the devs about the possibility of adding like another stream, right? And I talked to one of them, and one of them's like, yes, let's do this. And then the other one's like, I need a business plan with all of these details and a profit analysis. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So it turned into like, you know, it went from one thing to another thing, which I understand their reasoning behind it. But it is evolving, but at the same time, it's probably not going to be something quick. It's going to take time. If it does happen at all. The damn challenge expanding though into say a column A, column B challenge where we have a more inviting kind of space, or it even could be considered a more challenging space because the rules are even, you know, they're smaller maps, fixed amount of time, stock objects only. Some people might see that as a challenge instead of it being more, you know, inviting for a new member. But at the same time, putting those restrictions means they don't need to compete against people who may have a lot more time on their hands, which is a valuable asset. You know what I mean? Maybe someone who's retired or someone who's between jobs or works a job at home that affords them an advantage to work on a map, you know, a lot more than someone who's working, you know, 40 hours or in a week outside the home, or, you know, between that and commuting, and maybe you got family and hobbies and other things going on. It gets hard to stay, you know, active in these contests. You know, that'd be an interesting concept, Robert. Sorting objects by update. This map makes my computer scream. It is... The fans are churning right now, and you can see I'm at 12 FPS. So, okay, so False Hydra, if I'm not mistaken, just clear me up here. It is that scenario where the town is essentially, it's actually probably long abandoned or overrun by the false Hydra, who probably ate or killed everyone there. And it's now more of a mirage of a town where people think the party thinks people are alive there, but they keep disappearing, or no one remembers them, and it's kind of like murder mystery vibes. Is that kind of what it is a little bit? I've never played with a false Hydra before in an encounter, so. Atlam, thank you for kind of corralling all the suggestions into one. Though, Robert, agree with your suggestion there. What I would recommend to you is, could you put that up on our upvote when you have the time? Andrew, hey, sorry about that. I see all these questions here. This map, if you're looking at it, is called Druid-Grown Treehouse Inn. It's available on the Steam Workshop. Sorry about that. My messages just kind of flashed a whole bunch of them. I'm kind of speaking generally to everyone. I'm multi-streaming on, 6 different platforms right now. We're on Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Steam, Twitter. It gets kind of crazy. So once in a while I miss a chat here and there. My apologies. So this map here is made by Hieronymo, and it's a great example of multi-level, right? A treehouse is always a something that's kind of been desired by our community. A lot of people want a treehouse style map, and this gives off an amazing treehouse in the middle of the woods, deep in a very big forest, especially where you get like the fog as you just kind of get into the immediate area. Sometimes, Robert, I like to have a 1 or 2 words that are just simple, that kind of invoke a lot of thought and possibility. Does that make sense? So you've been using Arkenforge as your virtual tabletop in conjunction with DA? So here we have kind of your top level, which I love that there's just like this skylight point. Very cool. Arkenforge is perfect for that because they've got like effects and all sorts of stuff too for... Yeah, they're ideal for TV tabletop setups. It pairs really nicely with Dungeon Alchemist for sure. For in-person play, Dungeon Alchemist is possible, but it's really not designed for it. A lot of other, companies that are virtual tabletops tend to do it a lot better. At the end of the day, we're a map-making tool. You know what I mean? I love this little setup here with this mezzanine connected to a balcony with the telescope outside. I think my favorite thing is all the vine work and the ivy, the wisteria, all the hanging plants. You really, 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 really designed well, my friend. If only Tailspire was compatible with DA. That statement goes both ways, my friend. I would like to point out at the end of the day that Tailspire is a closed ecosystem, right? It's designed where you make the map there and you play there. They don't necessarily offer a way to easily import, maps from other tools at all. That being said, Dungeon Alchemist doesn't offer 3D export of any kind, right? So, it's kind of both aren't conducive to it. Our maps are meant to be designed to be exported in a top-down, whether it's flattened or a 3D perspective. The 3D design for map making is just to give you better access to every ounce of the map. You can place things specifically where you want and check it at all angles before you export it. Several of these trees are custom. These are likely on the workshop, though, I'd imagine. Some of it's official content, some of it's from the workshop. But like these, like this wisteria, that's official. That ivy is official. These hanging plants official. These dead vines official. These big tree vines official. But then some of these trees out here, definitely not. They're like can't even select it because they're so fog layer. Let me see the plus sign. I think I'm pressing fog. Really want to grab one of these trees. It's just such a weird. Can't even see it. Let's see. If I go to downloaded objects, actually, if I go to the workshop, subscribed asset. Tree with Spanish moss. I could go to subscribed assets and see what I've subbed to through various maps in it. As you see, I only have a couple of pages. Yeah, those fog blocks are. It's this right here. Available on the Steam Workshop. Anyone can download it. As long as you own a full copy of Dungeon Alchemist, you can just go to the top menu and click Browse Assets and then find, search by tree or bush or plants, flowers. You can find hundreds of third-party objects to add to your collection. But keep in mind that assets from the workshop vary in quality drastically from asset to asset and size. Some assets are optimized, rather well-sized. Others are massive in size and take up a tremendous amount of space and tend to bog down your performance of your machine. So if you start subscribing to assets, we recommend only subscribing to them as you need them and unsubscribing as you don't. The more assets you subscribe to on the workshop, think of it like mods on a game. The more mods you add to a game, the more likely you'll run into issues where it won't run or it'll crash. So the more mods you add, the more likely things will run poorly. We give you all the data we can to tell you, hey, a lot of people download it, a lot of people upvote it, has small size overall. You could see here, you can get a description of it. So you can kind of make a safe assumption, but the more assets you add, the more likely you'll run into performance issues. Will flowing river tools be a thing in the future? So we have 2 updates planned for water-based stuff in the future. One is called Water Worlds, which will add us, tons of new effects and tools around water manipulation, i.e. waterfalls. I'd imagine things like gyres or like, currents, possibly, things like that. Whirlpools, I'd imagine those types of things might be on the menu. Also weather effects with water, like rain or maybe snow or fog, things like that. Now, that being said, our next update, which is Fun with Objects Part 2, the second half of the Fun with Objects update launched in July, will be including a new, we already included part of it in the update. It's called the Modular Object Tool. It allows you to kind of link certain objects together more fluidly and efficiently. Things like pipes is one example. Rails is another. But there's going to be some ship parts, I believe, in the next update that are kind of the foundational layer for the High Seas update, which is an update planned in the future that will be, allowing for enhanced shipbuilding, easier building of like islands and or coastal areas, which is already quite possible in Dungeon Alchemist. There's hundreds of maps that are examples of that on the Steam Workshop that have been shared by our community. Just takes a little bit more effort. Additionally, I think High Seas will likely dive into things like airships, because High Seas to me in a fantasy context doesn't just mean water and oceans, it also means air and possibly astral seas. So I imagine they'll probably expand the shipbuilder to offer all sorts of shapes, sizes, customizations, but also biomes that reflect these various areas. So, Miss Rattata, this is one of the entries in the Hospitality Dam Challenge. It's a treehouse made by Hieronymo, which it's a brilliantly designed multi-level map. I love seeing all these new designs taking advantage of multi-level now that we offer it. It's more easy for our community to jump into and design multi-level maps than ever before. I don't know if more roofing options will be available in part 2 or not. I haven't read anything about that. I would imagine the roofing, like precision and roof types and points and designs, more will come with time, but I don't know if this first update will have it or not. One thing I do know is that Carl put a ton of time, effort, and sanity into getting roofing to the state it is now. So I'd say let's just be patient as they push out what they planned for Fun with Objects next, and then kind of follow their development plan with whatever they have coming up. Miss Rattata, it's pretty cool, huh? There's you got a fan over on TikTok, Hieronymo. They like love your map here. I imagine fixes, around the shapes that break roofs, also the shapes that would create weird, like areas where puddles or water would gather. I know that bothers a lot of people who, work in roofing and or construction and or architecture, have mentioned that it's just silly to them. That being said, I understand the concerns. But I do think, in a fantasy world, having whimsical, crazy roofing that doesn't need explanation for where the water goes also is fun too. So, honestly, yeah, it's a beautiful map. You did a great job, my friend. I was very impressed with this design. And like, as you get going down, there's more and more impressive stuff. This little balcony over the tavern area was my favorite. My favorite. Because it's a nice little vaulted entry. It gives off lodge vibes, but then you put it inside of a treehouse, which is even cooler. You know what I mean? I do think also Wim like put up a graphic and of all the roof types he wants to try and like figure out. And I don't even know if this is something for sure, but I feel like the devs said that they want to make it so you can have more control over the roof shape, like manually adjusting. So Andrew, you can jump up and down between the layers using the plus or minus key, right? Or if a roof is visible, right, at any point, you can delete the roof using the roof tool. So you can delete entire sections. So any singular room, it'll allow you to delete that section of it, and you can delete them all. Does that make sense? If I click, it will actually... Well, remember, you don't play inside of this, right? This is a map-making tool, not a playing tool. Though, if it were me in your case, if your players were like going into something like this, they'd usually be entering at the ground level, right? Which is where they'd be here, traditionally. Or you could even show these 2 floors. because they enter in, they likely see the stairs, the balcony, but they're not on the balcony, so they see everything below, right? So if they want to go here and they're like, hey, I want to go up this stair and see what's up there, you could then reveal to them and let them go up. That's if you're playing with Dungeon Alchemist on like a TV tabletop. Though I wouldn't necessarily recommend Dungeon Alchemist for online play because there's no multiplayer support. When it comes to localized play with a TV tabletop, it's definitely possible, especially if you, the DM, is controlling Dungeon Alchemist like this. It makes it very fun. You can hide the UI, at different points. You can even add the grid on to the map if you want. So it gives you a lot of different control. It does give off Wood Elf vibes for sure. Or Wood Elf Lodge. Very cool, huh, Lizzie? Now remember, if you were to export to this to something like a virtual tabletop, like Arkan Forge, Foundry, Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, any of those, each of these levels would export as a separate scene. So when you hit export on this, I'll show you what I mean. It's set for Foundry right now. Yeah, Andrew, actually, after we've delivered on all our Kickstarter promises, which, we have 4.5 major stretch goals left until we've delivered on all our promises from our Kickstarter, which is how we got here in the first place. Like, without our Kickstarter community and support, we wouldn't have gotten this far, right? Without that startup cash, that startup capital. So, and we're ever grateful for that community, and we want to deliver on all those promises because it's the right thing and the ethical thing to do before we move on to other projects, such as a virtual tabletop that pairs with Dungeon Alchemist. The devs have stated, though, that once we leave early access, they would like to potentially make a standalone virtual tabletop that pairs very well with Dungeon Alchemist and gets the most out of it. What that, would be and what kind of features it will entail remains to be seen. So when you hit export, and I set this for Foundry, but this would be the same with Roll20 or pretty much any virtual tabletop, it splits this map up into all the layers, all those vertical slices, right? Think of it like a sandwich. Every bit of that sandwich, the bread on the bottom, the mayo, and all the sauces, and then you got some lettuce and all of your condiments. You keep going up to the top, and it could be like a Scooby-Doo sandwich all the way until it's like this tall, right? Each of those little blocks is a separate slice or a layer of this map, each of them being a new level. When you export this map, say as an image or a video, it exports it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times because there's a basement and 8 above ground levels. Each would be a separate image and an associated data file. In the case of Foundry, it'd be a JSON. If it's Fantasy Grounds, it's web. What is it? I can't remember the name of the data file over there. What is it over on Fantasy Grounds? Help me out, people. Roll20, it's a script. Above VTT, it's a UVTT file. It's WebM. Well, I'm talking about their data file for Fantasy Grounds. It's like XML. That's what it is, XML. Before you generate a room when it's still a floor plan, Robert, you can raise and lower it just fine. So you can have all sorts of different verticality. But one structure, okay, the heights of floors between it are pretty much set as each level is a separate floor. But you can also vault them like you see here, where you kind of cut spaces out or even cut out the entire floor and have it be one big vaulted room. So ultimately, I think that, the possibility is there for some big free height open placement or even floating buildings is definitely possible now. With multi-level, it's beyond possible. In fact, I'll show everyone in a bit if you would like to learn about that. Andrew, yeah, I'd say 2 years is a safe estimate, maybe even a little bit longer. Just because, like, on average, each release is about 4 to 6 months, right? The longest update so far was this last update, Fun with Objects 1, and it took a year. Well, it took like 13 months. Prior to that, I think Magic took 11, but most updates prior to that took anywhere from 3 to 6 months. So we're averaging about 6 months per update, every update. And that's with a team of 10 people, including myself and some admin who do nothing from a development standpoint other than like gather feedback and share it with the devs. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, I guess I do testing too. But anyway. Oh, there's quite a few now, Andrew. There's tons of towers on the workshop. Man, just go to browse maps. Like here's one. This one's a neat, like it could be a wizard tower, but it's on the sea. This one here is a cult tower, could totally be a wizard tower. There's we just did the dam challenge like a few weeks ago. Not this last one, but the one before was tower. So a bunch of towers were shared. And then people have been also posting them because multi-level is available now. So it's like a whole new ball game when it comes to towers, castles, mansions. You know, you can build below ground, you can build above ground. So yeah, there's really not as much restriction as there was before. I would say the multi-level update was the biggest change, most drastic update we've had. It had the most fundamental change to like the core functionality of Dungeon Alchemist. But after this, all major updates should be relatively quick. Austin Towers, funny. You should make a pair of towers where one is like a lot shorter than the other one, and one's really, really tall. Like the short one's kind of stubby and like bald, and then the tall one's kind of buff, like huge, and then call them the Twin Towers. Or the Two Towers. Either or. Going for a, what is it? Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold and Danny. Yeah. The Twins Towers. Gosh, that movie is ridiculous. That or, yeah. Oh man, you should, Andrew. It makes it so cool. Makes it so cool. Austin Towers, you're killing me though, Robert. You're killing me. Oh my gosh, please no. We don't need more Kevin Hart in movies. Okay, let's go on to the next one, shall we? What's the last one, actually? When you were doing it by hand, Andrew, right? It used to be so hard to do multi-level maps. I could totally see Dave Bautista, though. But I feel like it should be like, I don't know. I feel like for like 5 years, Kevin Hart was in everything. Am I the only one who felt that way? Like, he's an all right actor, but I just got kind of like everything. Just trying to think of another short, funny actor who's also like doing pretty good right now. Batista and Jack Black would also fit the like bodybuilder meets like scrawny, or Patton Oswalt even. Like I don't know. I think those two would be interesting. Kevin Hart basically got like 6 Twins movies in a row with The Rock. with Dwayne the Rock, the Tooth Fairy Johnson. This is true. You're like, wait, they did actually. Oh, Peter Dinklage would be a great one too. Didn't he just have a movie come out? Like they just remade the Toxic Avenger, but it's like been sitting on the shelf for like years. Apparently, they've been waiting, kind of like wait for the movie market to pick back up because it came out like mid-pandemic. Good for Peter Dinklage too. Man's doing really well for himself. Like, yeah, we'll get further down in a minute. I just got to admire this pool first off. Absolutely love this. Probably one of the coolest pool designs I've seen. And it definitely has that like austere, like bougie sort of like resort pool or like mansion in the middle of nowhere pool. Yeah, it does scream old money quite a bit. This area on top is really cool too. It definitely looks like a flooded room. Here, I'll fix this. If I turn on natural animations, there we go. Very clever, by the way. Wanted to check out all the exterior before we move in. The pool was my favorite, I think. That and this rooftop. This like skylight you set up was really cool. So it looks like Fairy Tales is the winner. Fairy Tail also happens to be one of my favorite animes. Manga maze. Parkour. Parkour. I like the kind of like locker room there for the spa. You got a nice spa, don't you? Look at this. This is great. Very cool, Lilandra. The saunas. You can get a schwitz. Really great details here. This is definitely like a fancy resort, right? I also love the sunroom here with all the light from the, you know, from the like the rear pool area. The people in this resort would never ever step foot in the kitchen. Very nice. Very, very nice. I'd imagine not. So today after stream, gonna eat me some lunch. Probably gonna then go work on my garage for a little bit. Got some totes that are old totes, falling apart, had stuff in them that was just like, it was taking up tons of space, and the totes weren't uniform in shape or size, so they couldn't stack well. So I've got new totes I'm gonna put everything into, and then put them on my storage rack. Then I'll feel accomplished in life. Honestly, I'm just excited to kind of organize my life a little bit. Take back some control over, you know, the horde of items that was in my garage. I mean, it's not a real space. Me closing the doors, opening the doors as I leave doesn't really matter. So I don't use my real world manners there. You notice I jump over the staircases too. You never really complain about that. Come on, dude, you crack me up, but. Hey, you know what? Some tents are actually pretty respectable to live in. Have you heard of a yurt? Oh my goodness. Hey, come here, Ham. Oh, come here. Oh, come here. You want to say hello? Little Roo. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Mrs. likes me to trim it like a lion poof, like a big puff on the end, but the rest is trimmed really. So when he wags his tail, it's like, oh boy. Oh, I missed you. He's a missed you. I died, missed you. It was so handsome. So handsome. Oh. Seymour would love it. He would love it. He always loves his spa days. Getty day. But you keep saying that word spa. What is? Oh. Getting further into. Oh. Life now. Back to. Okay, come here. It's chilly in my office because it's like right under the vent and right under the fan, and so I imagine he gets really chilly really quick. This right here, I just want to sit here, vibe. That ledge. That's Mrs. Mac. Sorry, she's camera shy. Yeah, you know, arguably makes sense. It's not, the stream is, you know, it's kind of my space and my job, and now the dog, though, we know y'all like the dog and the cat ones, so it does have a Tomb Raider vibe, doesn't it? I feel like I should be able to go underwater and maybe find a switch back here. But then I also gotta come back up before I start gagging on the water and do that creepy contortion thing where she drowns and dies. Yet again, find the first aid kit, avoid the tiger. Old school Tomb Raider was pretty fun. Want to go fast until I lose my rings. Fantastic. Liliana, how long did you work on this map? I love that I can just keep exploring for forever. Hey, breakfast. Breakfast. Breakfast basket. An hour's not bad, not bad. Really love the skylight here. What's everyone's favorite part of the map, now that we've kind of explored it all? The hot tubs. Yeah, the pool's exquisite, right? That definitely has that kind of like mansion, like big money vibes in the eastern, you know, kind of US. Damn challenge is good. Callie Syke, how you doing? Welcome back. That's a good question, Tropism. So these are all iron roof borders that our friend put in manually to get this kind of beam, right? And then these are glass floors, which I imagine are from the workshop. So they just kind of put them in manually here. This part, I imagine, took some time to get just right. But the cross lattice gives it like the appearance of more support. So it's a combination of objects from the workshop and stock objects placed manually. It is cool. How you doing, by the way, Tropism? Welcome back. How's your week? But yeah, the like pillared porch like is big money in the eastern US usually. How was your D&D session? In fact, if anyone got any D&D in this week or this weekend so far, or having some planned for this weekend, let's hear about it. Any coins in the fountain? No? No coins in the fountain. Lovely build, though. Fantastic build, Liliandra. Thank you so much. Doing 3 Musketeers in space? Wait, what? How? Let's hear it. Tell me, what's your character? Callie, let's talk about it. If you maybe want some like insight from other GMs, DMs, players, or if you'd rather, you know, keep it close to the chest, I understand. But it's also usually a good idea to bounce it off other people, you know what I mean? That being said, I've often found the solution to almost any party's problem is sit down and talk about it. If there is tensions in the party, if there is drama, if there is not cohesion in the party's vision, or if the players have done something that's taken your game off of the beaten path that you didn't prepare for and you're not sure how to proceed, talk to them about it. Usually goes the best. Can't remember how many times, if I had a nickel for how many times I've been on like D&D horror stories where someone's like, a problem could have very easily been like avoided if the DM or the players or the DM and the players or the players sat down and had a player only meeting, or just like had a discussion and worked it out. But they fought the killer the first session. Did the killer survive or die? I'm assuming dead if that's the struggle. But it could be a false death. Like they thought they killed him, but he really isn't dead. It could have been a copy, if it's like a really powerful wizard, a simulacrum, or it could have also just been like, what do they call it? Like an image, an after image or something. Or they could have staged their death. Anyway, that's kind of the first vibe I'm getting. They already fought him in the first thing. So what happened when they fought him? Let's hear it. Did they run? Did they kick his butt? Let's hear about it. Oh, wow. That's cool. That sounds interesting. An interesting character, Robert. Which of the three musketeers are you? Is the real question. I mean, he doesn't have to be dead. You know what I mean? That first encounter, even if they didn't escape, it could be a false death or something that you whip up to be like, a minion or an image, or, you know what I mean? Savage Worlds, he's like D'Artagnan. Nice. Three Musketeers was like one of my favorite movies growing up. The Disney version was pretty good. More of a side quest, a break. I mean, it could just be over if they kicked butt, and then they could just clear the place. That, or you could have that be a sub boss and have a bigger boss in there that's like they were working for them. You know what I mean? If you have other areas for them to explore, but they kind of already killed the main guy. That said, if your players are going to interact with the main bad and you want them to finish them off somewhere else, it's ideal to have an escape option for them. You know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah. So, it could have been a patron, it could have been a mentor, it could have been someone manipulating them, any number of things, a boss. Oh, that's cool, Robert. That sounds neat. Had an Icewind Dale session yesterday as a player, just looting and planning to prepare the storm of fortress. What kind of preparations did you do? Okay, so we've got a few minutes left, and it sounds like the theme is going to be fairy tale for our next damn challenge. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to update the damn challenge theme. Is that where we landed, right, Atlam? Isn't Kowloon? Okay, that's exactly what I thought. It's that city that was kind of the lawless city that kept building up like a crazy slum in a little area that they had technically like no laws or jurisdiction, right? Though they did shut it down like years ago. But like a black market city seems to be like a cool thing to have in a fantasy environment. Yeah, the densest population on Earth for a time, correct. Chim, fairy tale is a broad, it's a broad stroke. If you feel like that could include tall tales and folklore, which are technically, just American fairy tales, then yeah, that's fine. I have an acquaintance from Europe, and he is like terrified of America, not because of guns, but because of bears. He seems to think they just like roam free everywhere here because of videos. I mean, Robert, it's not our fault that Disney tried to own the copyrights and trademarks for every single fairy tale that was out of Creative Commons and copyright. Yes, he's afraid of bears. I've only seen bears at at a zoo, or like an event, like a circus. I have never seen a bear in the wild. Just made me laugh, like the concept, right? That he like doesn't want to come to the US because he's so scared of bears. So Crit Cannon, unfortunately, any assets you import yourself through the asset importer or you'd get from the Steam Workshop, those do not work within the wall tool, the window tool, the door tool, or the rune generation tool. Those are considered objects and they'll be under the object menu strictly. You can make custom walls and import them. There's some great examples, but they would have to be placed manually. Now, keep in mind, there's two methods to speed this up. If you hold shift when you place an object, it automatically duplicates it, which is a very quick method for, duplicating stuff. The alternative is using the object to create a custom brush. So if you say have a tree and you want to make tons of these trees be everywhere, if you go to the object menu and then hit create brush, then you can, you can paint more trees. Of course, it's different because these settings here are set to be kind of random in size, scale, and rotation. So it gives some diversity. But your advanced settings, you could turn this all the way down and they would be identical to each other. Anyway, moving on. When it comes to painting walls, though, it's usually best to use the shift method I was showing. And then if you leave collisions on, they'll snap into place rather astutely. No, I think that's a great assessment and statement there, Mondu. I think it's probably smart to be more, scared of people than of animals. At least as long as you're not like in a massive like area swath of wilderness. That being said, people out in the wilderness running into them, you have no idea their intentions or how they're going to act around you because there's no one else around to, keep them in check. None of those societal collars, boundaries that normally keep people acting normal, right? Hear about horror stories in the woods, and I don't blame them. There's too many creepy dudes out there. A bear is like at least somewhat predictable in its behavior. You know what I mean? I honestly cannot even fathom what it would be like to, you know, have to deal with that kind of stuff as a woman, and to like be put in a scenario like that. Also to be asked, you know, if you'd prefer the bear or the man and why. That's silly. Like, I mean, there are many reasons. I'd say mountain lions and bears are both aggressive and scary in their own right. I think you have a better chance of scaring off a mountain lion than a bear if you've irritated it. A mountain lion, a bear, they'll both protect their cubs, right? Bears are much more territorial, and bears go after food relentlessly. If you're out camping in the middle of nowhere, you have to have a bear bag, a bear sack, and you have to put your food in it and hang it way up in a tree, because bears will go into your tent in the middle of the night and try to take your food. And, you know, if you smell like that food or in the tent, you might as well, yeah. Like, bear mace is important. People usually will bring a firearm with them into the wilderness. Usually making noise is enough to keep a mountain lion away, unless, of course, it's protecting its cubs. I don't know, man. I've seen bears. They are fast. There's also that like rumor, people say, oh, bears can't run. No, they can run downhill just fine. That being said, bears are also huge too, compared to like a mountain lion. I don't know. You won't see the mountain lion? True. I think the bear could be right up on you before you even notice it, though, with how fast they are. You know, I'm not too worried about hippos in the United States unless I was like in some, you know, weird part of Florida or something where they might be let go in some area. They're not necessarily native to the US. That being said, I do understand how dangerous they are. Very dangerous. Yeah, we need more graves. Let's do... US used to have lions too. Man, if you go back far enough, there is crazy amount of like scary predators that used to live in the US. Massive creatures that were probably hunted to extinction. Have you all heard of those like prehistoric huntings where they would like run the animals off a cliff by scaring them and getting them to just like, you know, die in droves? I would say most any wild animal is pretty dangerous, my man. Or canary, honestly, like it's wild animals in general. They're just unpredictable. You know what I mean? So many people treat them like it's a movie or a cartoon or something, and it's real, or a zoo. I don't know what it is. I've seen so many videos of like tourists visiting the United States. They'll be like at a national park, and I feel like because the word park is in the name, it might not translate well, and they think it's like a safe environment where you could just like walk around anywhere and do whatever you want and pet the animal. It's not a petting zoo. It's not safe. Nature is still very untamed in the United States. It needs to be respected. Vast swaths of it where all you see is nothing but road and desert or forest. Toastig, are you still there, my friend? How you doing today? All right, we got on a tangent there. By the way, I just figured we got a few minutes left, so I put some graves in, right? Might as well. I'm going to try and squeeze in some building in my spare time over the weekend, too. Hopefully get a bunch of work done on this and start progressing it and get onto a new project. GIF Yankee or GIF Yankee? GIF Zari or GIF Zari? No, I just figured we had some time left and covered all the maps. So might be a good chance to do some map making. Get some... Because I want to get this map done, and I think I put too much time into it. Honestly, I feel like there's less than 25 hours of work in this map total, which is crazy. It says a lot. Because it's like... Oh, the map that won was the first map we showed, so you might have missed it if you weren't here earlier. It is the Faymont Inn by Lord Rev. Let me get a link for it really quick. Honestly, I definitely feel like I bit off a bit more than I could chew with this map, right? Clearly. Made a mistake. With doing such a large map on Mapmaker Monday. That being said, I do want to be clear, this isn't like a personal or a vanity project. I intend to make this just for the community. So realistically, me tackling this theme for this long covers lots of different concepts, not just a cemetery. It covers by hand building, lots of different advanced concepts there, multi-level, also roads, both by hand and using the room tool, decorating and, you know, adding life to an environment without being reliant on, you know, the generation tools that are offered. Anyway. Honestly, mosquitoes are the bane of my existence lately. So there's been a huge mosquito outbreak in Vegas. And it's like a new variation of mosquito that's incredibly resilient. All it needs is like a drop of water to hatch. And they're usually very small and hard to see. They mess me up. I get chewed up by mosquitoes. Oh, did we just get raided? Hey, thank you, Yanti. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. Much appreciated for that raid. How you doing, raiders? How was the stream? Yeah, let's welcome in the raid, everyone. Give them a warm welcome. And yeah, let's get to know these people here. Yanti, how was your stream today? Hello. Hope I pronounced your name correctly there. And us here, we're just building some maps, making some pretty little maps. Played some D&D, the party raced horses, and failed some wisdom saves. Ah, no, that's the worst. Did they win any of the races, though? Man, I swear, the person in my party always trying to do wisdom saves is the person who shouldn't be. End up having to use my portent to save our fighter like every session. I feel like our last session, he got caught in like a trap that he had to do a wisdom save or be possessed, and I'm pretty sure I gave him one of my portents before he went in. Like, you sometimes want a certain person to do a certain like check, but it's not always viable. You can't always plan ahead that they'll be in that spot ready when it's time, right? Obviously, this makes me laugh. Like, I often will be asked to do like a random wisdom save. I'm like, I'm that ain't for me. Excuse me, I'm getting hiccups. Like, how do you pretend that to the barbarian? Just heal them once in a while? Why, sir? What would happen if the barbarian figured it out? I'm confused. Do they think that you're the same person? It's the same player character that died previously? So confused by this. Barbarian's gonna barb, though. Where they just kind of just don't understand that the world exists. So for the raiders, just a quick heads up to you, we're making maps in Dungeon Alchemist. This is the official channel for Dungeon Alchemist. So Dungeon Alchemist is a map making tool available on Steam. We offer a free demo where you can kind of try us out before you buy, test drive it on your computer, see how it runs. We recently introduced multi-level map making, where you can build up multiple levels and add roofing, underground levels, etc. This map, however, was started before that multi-level update, so it's considered a legacy map and doesn't support it. That being said, if you all are interested, I can show you some multi-level maps that are available. From the Steam Workshop, we have a massive repository of maps that have been shared by our community members, over 12,500 of them, and they're absolutely stunning work. Saves a lot of time for session prep for GMs, DMs out there. So if you're interested in learning more about map making or have questions related to Dungeon Alchemist, please let me know. These streams are hosted AMA format, which means ask me anything. So during the stream, if you have any questions, concerns, I will do whatever I can to answer your Dungeon Alchemist related questions. Sounds like a fun session, though. Yanti, thank you for sharing the info about the stream. How long has your campaign been going for? Headstone, I guess. Do the minute lose mooring poles. So the graves are starting to get fancier, or it's a different era where they had like, you know, more affordable stonework. So it went less from like traditional graves, like that are hand dug, well, like hand filled and, you know, decorated. Instead, it's like, oh, mason work done here. Ah, gotcha. Geez, I didn't know that barbarians were so like in tune with what their deities want. Good to know. there's been quite a bit added on the workshop, you know what I mean? And because of that addition of the ability to import, you know, custom 3D models and share them on the workshop, I honestly have seen a massive uptick in, you know, culturally themed maps for different regions. Maybe someday we might tackle that, but I'm not 100% certain. The devs tend to want to avoid cultural themed assets until we can, you know, properly pair with someone who can educate us on the correct, you know, way to represent these cultural assets, the correct way to tag them, the correct, you know, overall design to make sure that they are culturally sensitive and also, you know, proper representation. Once we leave early access, who knows? Might be offering stuff like that. Hard to say though at this time. Let's go find a headstone. That one looks good. I think after this row here, I'm gonna just save it. Wrap up for the, because it is now past the hour. Didn't get quite as much building time as I was hoping, but got some. This, by the way, this map, I'll be working on it Monday if y'all want to kind of tune in and see more of the build. Been working on it for a while now, kind of embarrassed for how long, but it is only about a half hour, an hour per day every Monday. So I've been doing my best to try and get as much as I can done in that half hour or so. We stream for 2 to 2.5 hours, but during that time, you know, I provide support, we chit chat, hang out, answer questions. So if I do have someone come in and ask a question, I'll stop what I'm doing and do that instead, often interrupting my workflow or slowing me down. So don't get as much time to focus on it as I'd like. I think going forward, builds will be smaller, more just economical and design and concepts that we can bust out really quick and get more maps out in a smaller amount of time. Yeah, it is quite a damn challenge, I would say. And it's, when it's done, it'll probably be one of the largest cemetery maps available on the workshop. So that in itself is, you know, a great feat. And I think it'll be great for others to enjoy and use in their campaigns. I'm wondering, I think either, you know, tomorrow, because I have some off time, I'm probably going to build out to like with graves, get up to there done. And then I'll probably, if I have more time, finish this out, the park area. I was going to build a little park here for people to, like a little sitting area, fountain, gazebo, something like that. And then, yeah, from there, it's mostly just, you know, kind of more of this kind of graves here, more of those graves over here. And then these will all be much more spread out with like areas fenced off privately like this, but it'll be a gate with like a stair going to it. And there'll be terraced kind of mausoleums, private plots for families. Similar to this, but not quite as large. Each of them will only be like a little bit like this, a little bit like this. Anyway, yeah, I appreciate you all being here today and hope to see you Monday. That stream, by the way, starts at 9 a.m. Pacific. That's 12 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. UTC. It runs for about 2.5 hours. It's called Map Maker Monday. We build a map live, this map, for you to tune in and check out. We worked a little bit on it today because we had some time left over at the end of the stream, so I figured might as well roll into that segue and work on the map a little bit today as well. But I appreciate you all tuning in, hanging out, discussing the various entries in the Dam Challenge, helping pick a new theme for our next Dam Challenge, which, quick reminder, is Fairy Tale. Using Fairy Tale as inspiration, make a map of any shape or size, and submit it to the Dam Challenge Discord before the end of day on October 3rd. So 11:59 p.m. October 3rd, which is a Friday, roughly 2 weeks from now, okay? So you have, you know, 13-ish days, well, roughly 13 days to build a map of any shape or size using Fairy Tale as inspiration, and you submit that map to the Dam Challenge channel in our Discord. That channel, by the way, pinned at the top is some rules for the challenge. Make sure you adhere to those rules or your entry will be disqualified, okay? Otherwise, thank you so much for being here. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is available on Steam. We offer a free demo where you can try before you buy, give it a little test drive on your computer, make sure it's worth your time and money investment, because you never know what you're getting nowadays. Maybe it won't work very well on your computer, maybe it will. That being said, we stream 3 times a week, every Monday, every Wednesday, and every Saturday. Mondays and Saturdays are multi-streams featured like today on multiple platforms: Twitch, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Steam. And on Wednesday, it's Discord exclusive. It's called Office Hours. We hang out in our Discord in a special channel, a stage channel where you can ask questions, vibe and hang out and bounce ideas and thoughts and homebrew stats and encounters and maps off of other GMs, like-minded map makers, etc. Additionally, we provide real-time AMA support. So if you want to tune into a stream, the next 2 are Monday or Wednesday, different times. Monday's at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. UTC. Wednesday is 10 a.m. Pacific. Let's see here. 1 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UTC, and they both run about 2.5 hours. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. We're going to run a quick Dungeon Alchemist themed ad, and then we're going to wrap up, okay? We'll see you next time. I give a damn. Mac out. Bye. Bye. Hope you have an amazing weekend, y'all.
But can it handle curves?
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 Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered map-making application for role-playing games, now comes with both round and diagonal walls. Create amazing professional maps for your players in seconds. Get it now on the Steam store.
Thank you again for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Till next time, Mac out. Bye.